Happy December 27th, and welcome to MicroStrategy Today, the only show that's bringing you MicroStrategy's updates, insights, and intel 7 days a week. We have a great show coming up for you today. We have Bitcoin bonds on the table. We also have a Bitcoin ETF by Bitwise that's only going to focus on companies that have a Bitcoin treasury. So bullish. Something about Elon. We have Coin Stories clip. We have a Michael Saylor's clip. A lot of great stuff is coming on. And remember, things in this video are just my opinions. This is not financial advice. So please do your own research. And I really do hope you're digging my new swag here today. I'm supporting the True North guys. They do some great work over there. They are really the guys that got me into MicroStrategy to the depth that I'm in right now. So I bought their shirt. I'm rocking their swag, and I will be for a number of upcoming videos. So a big shout out to them. And let's dive on in. Again, my friends, we got well over my request for 500 followers for the Christmas gift. You guys came through, so thank you for following me on Twitter here, up to 647 followers. If you're not following me, I would love for you to do that because I'm always reposting and tweeting the greatest about MicroStrategy all throughout the day. So there you have it. Let's jump on over to the MicroStrategy tracker. Stock price traded down about 5% yesterday to $341. It dropped down to 122 out of 500 in the S&P 500 ranking. Bitcoin price is up just a little bit today, about 0.7% to 96.5. And our Bitcoin balance is holding strong, of course, at 444,262. We'll see if Michael Saylor is going to add to that at all before the end of the year. The Bitcoin value per basic share is at $175. The MNAV dropped below 2 at 1.949. A lot of people that I do follow say anything below a 2.5 NAV is a screaming buy in their opinion. So something interesting there. But to me, this is that coiling spring that we've talked about in the past. The profit loss is 15 billion on the positive side. The return percentage is 55%. And the Bitcoin yield year to date and quarter to date is 73 and 47% respectively, and having a lot of fun with this tracker. And again, we're going to be bringing on the creator of this tracker quite shortly to go through every function of this so that we can have a complete understanding of all this awesomeness. Let's dive into the news I wanted to focus on here today. Wintermute analyst says MicroStrategy playbook could catch on, driving 2025's crypto demand. Could catch on, should be replaced, in my opinion, by is catching on. I mean, it's happening, my friends. You cannot stop this train. Jake predicted an increased corporate interest in Bitcoin by 2025, with SMEs joining larger firms and adopting Bitcoin as part of their balance sheets. MicroStrategy's playbook of large Bitcoin acquisitions is now totaling 444,262 Bitcoin, and strategies like issuing convertible notes are inspiring similar moves by firms like Marathon, Digital, and Riot platforms. And again, this is just people hopping on the Bitcoin train. This is going to be something that we're reporting on over and over again in 2025 and beyond. It's just a reality. It's an amazing opportunity. My son Bo, who's 1 year old, he agrees with us here. So just so you can put a little face with the crying. There he is, right there, 1 year old. He's a MicroStrategy fan already. I can guarantee you that. Let's move on to the next article here, which is Strive's Bitcoin bond ETF targets MicroStrategy, a 56 billion corporate Bitcoin surge. This is huge news, and we'll be getting more into this in a future tweet as well. But this is just something that's amazing that's going to be happening again more and more. That is so bullish. It's some MicroStrategy effect that is just sweeping the nation right here. And this is just going into the details of what the effect is, the broader implications of it. The eligibility criteria. This is for the Bitwise ETF. This is for companies that have 1,000 Bitcoin in their corporate treasury, 100 million market cap or more, and 1 million in daily liquidity. Bitwise is going to go ahead and put them into an ETF that you and I can buy, of companies that are following the Bitcoin strategy, that are following the MicroStrategy strategy. And Bitwise is going to be getting onto companies super early that are doing this, that just kind of make that those thresholds. And then again, we can invest in companies like that that are adopting the Bitcoin strategy, that are adopting this MicroStrategy playbook, which what is it doing? It's continuing this flywheel effect. Now companies have a target. Hey, we got to get to 1,000 Bitcoin at least. We got to get to $100 million market cap. We have to get to $1 million a day in liquidity. And if we get there, we're going to be part of this massive ETF, which is going to cause a ton of passive inflows into our stock. And that's going to cause our stock to go up. It's going to allow us to buy more Bitcoin. I mean, can't you see how game theory is in full effect? Can't you see how we're just activated into game theory? I mean, to me, this is just so exciting. Let's get into some tweets that kind of dive into this even more. The most recent Bitcoin Treasury announcement has not disappointed. In 27 minutes, what happened? This company, KULR Technology Group, went up 27%, basically immediately. Do you think other companies are looking at companies that are announcing the Bitcoin Treasuries announcements and saying, wow, I want to be a part of this. I want to have a similar price action in my stock that's probably been flat or trending slash grinding down over the past month, year, decade, however that might be? People are watching this. They're understanding the process. They're starting to see what companies like Semler sees, what Riot sees, what of course MicroStrategy has been seeing for 4 years, and these type of results are not going unnoticed. The Bitcoin therapist says Elon's silence about Bitcoin since the election, combined with recent news about Vivek's Bitcoin bond ETF application, has brought my confidence in a strategic U.S. Bitcoin reserve to a near guarantee. Day one is not off the table. Things are in motion that cannot be undone. Now, I follow the Bitcoin therapist because I find him very entertaining and amusing, and I enjoy his content. He's about as bull as you can be on the bullish scale. So he's far, far to the right on the bullish side of things. So just take that, with what we need to take that. But I mean, it's really exciting to see some of these posts because he does put things together in a really fun way. One of our fan favorites, Ben Workman, wrote, convertible bond demand intensifies. And this is on that announcement that Vivek Ramaswamy's Strive Asset Management files for a Bitcoin bond ETF designed to give exposure to growing convertible bond market for companies with Bitcoin treasuries. Vivek, his relationship with Donald Trump, with Elon Musk. So, I mean, this is going to get government regulatory approval across the board, continuing this flywheel effect, my friends. Game theory has been activated, and I've got some more tweets for you to show just that. The Bitcoin therapist says, yes, that is Vivek Ramaswamy. Yes, Strive is filing for a Bitcoin bond ETF. Yes, this is incredibly bullish. This is incredibly bullish as more focus, more money, more attention, more energy is being poured into Bitcoin, is being poured into the MicroStrategy playbook. It all trends in one direction, my friends. Number one, a lot of volatility, which is a feature, not a bug, because volatility is life. Big swings to the upside are coming, and big swings to the downside are coming as we continue to trend upwards. Let's go ahead and talk about the Bitcoin therapist again. He wrote, another Bitcoin ETF. This one's targeting corporations holding Bitcoin. If you didn't already know, a Bitcoin treasury is a cheat code, as we showed you with that earlier chart. There is a very high likelihood that this will be wildly successful. We are going higher. And again, this is this is Bitwise saying that we are going to create an ETF, a basket of stocks that have at least 1,000 Bitcoin, that have at least $100 million market cap, and have at least $1 million of daily liquidity. They're going to put together this ETF. You better believe that I'm going to be a buyer of that ETF. And they are going to encourage companies that are maybe at like 300, 500, 600 Bitcoin. You got to get to 1,000 quick because of what's going to happen when you do. Let's go on and talk about this from Ben Workman. He wrote, here come the Bitcoin Treasury ETF products. It was only a matter of time before these things started materializing. New companies have a new bogey, 1,000 Bitcoin in their treasury. This won't be the last of these products. This will not be the last. In fact, this is just the beginning as things continue to heat up and get exciting. I did want to share this little bit of a longer tweet by Dan Hillary because this guy always shares some really great content. And in fact, he's one of the individuals that is part of this MSTR North community. I am going to make a post shortly on the ATM usage, which I have observed over the past few weeks. And I'm taking a step back from this tweet for a second just to address you, my friends, my viewers. The comments have been amazing. They've been off the chain, but a very consistent comment when when Bitcoin is trending up a little bit and MicroStrategy doesn't seem to be trending in the exact same direction all the time, is everybody is just absolutely convinced that this guy, Michael Saylor, is just hammering the ATM, is just selling shares into the market, which is just depressing the stock price value. Now, listen, is that happening on some level? Yes, he's doing that to buy more Bitcoin, to increase our Bitcoin yield, because he's buying Bitcoin, period. That's his goal, is to increase your Bitcoin yield as a shareholder, my Bitcoin yield as a shareholder. That is his KPI. That is his focus. But I thought this post by Dan Hillary was important because it's really been overblown. It's not like Michael Saylor is able to sit here and just completely compress and depress and control everything. Because again, remember, he has the shareholders' best desires at heart. He wants the shareholders to win at the highest level, him being the largest shareholder in the world by a long shot. So the hard pill to swallow is this, says Dan Hillary. The ATM is not making the share price go down. It's people selling. Some people believe that the stock is not valuable and they are taking profits, while others are shorting. This is the reality. Some people will disagree, and that's what makes it a market. I often feel that people use ATM as sort of a comfort mechanism. Like if it were stopped being issued, the price would rip. If Saylor had not used the ATM this week, I am fairly certain price behavior would have behaved largely in the same manner. Right now, the market believes that a 2x MNAV is appropriate, and that's right where we are. And yes, I use MNAV as a pseudo for P&E, which is price to earnings ratio. In my opinion, they are in for a rude awakening, but that's another point. So basically, and as you can see, as Craig posts right below, this is what stocks do. They move up, then they consolidate. People should relax and be patient. This stock has been on an absolute bender of a rip since September. I mean, really since the beginning of the year, but let's just even go back a couple months to September. It was at $135. Like, this stock has been on an absolute rip, and it got overheated and it's consolidating, cooling off, getting back into line. And a lot of catalysts are coming in 2025 that are very exciting. I've talked about a few of those on this video alone. The bonds, the ETF. Wow. I mean, Strive, Bitwise, these are massive companies coming in and doing some really amazing things. And I want to just leave you with this tweet before we get into some really cool videos. One by Natalie Brunell from Coin Stories, and then another from Michael Saylor. Looks like an inflection point. MicroStrategy has been on a Bitcoin buying spree in Q4. They acquired almost 200,000 Bitcoin through 7 different buying events. They now own 2.12% of the total supply. Just look at this chart. They're making things happen, stair stepping up, and then rip. And I know a lot of us have been around for this rip right here. This is not normal. This is insane what they've been doing, because guess what? Do you think Michael Saylor maybe knows something? And this is actually what I want to go back to. This tweet right here. Elon's silence about Bitcoin since the election, combined with the recent news about Vivek's Bitcoin bond ETF application, has brought my confidence in a strategic U.S. Bitcoin reserve to a near guarantee. Day one, it's not off the table. Things are in motion that cannot be undone. Do you think that these individuals, Michael Saylor, Vivek, Bitwise, Elon Musk, do you think that they know something? They know what's coming? Excuse me. What they know is that game theory has been activated. Nation states are coming. Pension funds are coming. Institutions have been coming and are coming in much bigger levels. So we've got a couple of really good videos coming up for you, my friends. Enjoy the Coin Stories by Natalie Brunell. And then I've got, of course, an epic Michael Saylor clip per usual. Enjoy.
All right, another major story this year was, of course, MicroStrategy. MicroStrategy seems to be making headlines every other day, and for good reason. This week, MicroStrategy officially joined the NASDAQ 100 after being one of the best performing stocks in the entire US stock market. In 2024 alone, the company more than doubled its Bitcoin treasury from more than 189,000 Bitcoins to 439,000 Bitcoins. And for the 7th consecutive week, MicroStrategy announced on Monday that it had acquired an additional 5,262 Bitcoins for an average price of more than $106,000. So if you were feeling bad about buying the top after Bitcoin's recent correction, don't be. Michael Saylor was buying too, and he even tweeted, "If you're not buying Bitcoin at the top, you are leaving money on the table." MicroStrategy also made waves this week by announcing that it will hold a special shareholders meeting to ask for approval to increase the number of shares the company is allowed to issue to a whopping 10.33 billion. Many took to X with concerns about the company flooding the market with shares and diluting existing shareholders, but that's not exactly what's happening here. To understand why, let's first explain the difference between authorized and outstanding shares. Authorized shares are the maximum number of shares a company can legally issue. Outstanding shares are the ones already issued and owned by investors. Increasing authorized shares raises the limit on how many shares the company could issue in the future, but it doesn't automatically add more shares or reduce the value of existing ones. New shares are only created if the company decides to raise more money later. Today, MicroStrategy has about 197 million shares outstanding and is currently authorized to issue up to 330 million shares. So this proposal would significantly raise that limit to 10.33 billion. For context, large companies such as Apple, Microsoft, and AT&T all have billions of shares outstanding. So why would they want such a high limit? Well, to be able to raise more capital. And why would they want to raise more capital? To buy Bitcoin, of course. The idea is by increasing their authorized shares now, they won't have to repeatedly seek shareholder approval every time they want to issue new shares for Bitcoin purchases. This proposal is really all about giving MicroStrategy flexibility for strategic moves down the road. And with Michael Saylor at the helm, you can bet that when they do issue more shares, he'll be laser focused on increasing the value of each share in Bitcoin terms. That's been the playbook all along and why you've seen him tweeting about a BTC yield. So, what's the big takeaway? This is really a strategic move for the future and won't result in a massive dilution event for shareholders today. For anyone who understands their long term plan, this makes total sense as part of the same Bitcoin strategy the company has been executing for years now.
It's emerging as the world's reserve capital network. People are realizing that Bitcoin is better than real estate, it's better than stocks. There's not a single company or real estate property that you would rather own for the long term than Bitcoin. So the very simple idea is buy 20 or 25% of the Bitcoin network on behalf of the US government, catalyze the development of that world reserve capital network, and then let all the Chinese and the Russians and the foreigners sell all their other assets and buy Bitcoin, and then the money flows into the United States. If you want to put a great twist on it, dump your gold, sell all the US gold, buy Bitcoin, then the trade is free because you could buy 5 million Bitcoin for the cost of the gold. You will demonetize the entire gold asset class, and our enemies hold gold in their banks. So their assets would go to zero. Our assets would go to $100 trillion, and we would control the world's reserve capital network as well as the world's reserve currency network.
Well, there you have it, my friends. Another MicroStrategy Today episode. I hope you enjoyed today's exciting news about the bonds, about the ETFs, about game theory being activated, about maybe just relaxing a little bit on the narrative about the ATM. Because again, Michael Saylor is doing things that benefit shareholders. So if you are a shareholder, and I believe that most of you are, you know that he's doing things to benefit you. Everything that he does is for our benefit. He said that in the Q3 earnings report. I have no doubt he's going to repeat that in the Q4 earnings report. It's just going to happen. But remember, these are only my opinions. This is not financial advice. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Give me a follow on Twitter, MicroStrategy, as I will be reposting all of the critical things about MicroStrategy throughout the day, every single day. Let's get over 1,000 followers now. That'll be the next goal that we have. Thank you to our sponsor, NordVPN. Protect your online identity. Protect your family's online identity for a few bucks a month. It's simple. They've got a holiday special going on. Click the link in my show notes page right below. Support the channel by doing that. Thank you. And remember, as Michael Saylor says, there is no second best.